Informational,
fun,
timely,
relevant.
That's what people are saying about A to Z in real estate. 30 minutes packed with great info for home sellers, buyers, and investors. And now let's welcome your host, Lizzie Cohen.
Welcome to A to Z in Real Estate. I'm Sean Matthews, and I'm here with Tate Trentham.
Hey.
We're going to talk a little bit about commercial real estate today. So again, I want to welcome all the guests today. Happy Saturday morning to everyone. Tate, we had you on the show a couple months ago, and we talked a little bit about, investment properties, and that show got the most requests for questions.
Right.
And people were like, hey, slow down, explain this, explain that. So Lizzie's doing some training this week, so she's out of the office. So we thought we'd have you in, sneak you back in and talk a little bit about commercial real estate. It's been a great year. We're finishing up the year. I know you bought your first duplex this year.
Yep.
And how's that going?
It's going really good. Just finished up doing the renovations on my place and kind of getting rent situated and just really getting moved in on my side. And then I've got another side of the duplex that I'm going to be renovating towards the beginning of this upcoming year.
Right. So, and I know you said that side will rent for almost like $1,500.
Yeah, $1,600. That's what we're going for.
What's your payment?
14.
So you're going to be cash positive, live for free. So
right.
Pretty cool. So I think a lot of people will and do ask us about investment property and how to get into it. That was one of the I guess the cheapest way to get in.
It is. If you plan on living in one side and you're okay with doing that, it's a pretty practical way of going about getting in a property without having to put, because most places are going to ask for about 15-25% down. On $200,000, that's $50,000.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of kids don't have that today.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about it, with the guys here in the mixed studios, about how crazy this market's been, and they asked us if it had slowed down at all, and we kind of chuckled. Not at all.
Not really.
Questions and investors are pouring in. We had one yesterday, tax exchange. The guy's going to close the first week of January, and he has $1.5 million to spend. He's got 45 days to identify that property, and then he's got 6 months, 180 days to close in the 1031 tax deferment that he's in. And we get those calls quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where people are looking to reinvest money, and they want to be in this area.
So for somebody who doesn't know what a 1031 exchange is, what is that?
So it's a tax deferment. So say you bought that duplex, you owned it for 10 years, you've depreciated, you've done straight line depreciation, and now you're going to sell this, and you might owe as much as 30% to the government.
Or more.
In taxes.
Yeah.
Right. So that 30%, you can defer that if you reinvest it.
Right. And you can keep growing.
Right.
As far as, getting a higher value asset after you do that.
Yeah, and it's been around for a long time. There's some talk that it might go away or it might be reduced in the future. But right now,
right now things are normal. Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, and a person would identify a property that's time for it to sell. And they would say, I want to reinvest this money. So, there's a couple trigger points that they have to be careful, right? They don't really touch the money.
Right.
It goes to an intermediator. Somebody's going to hold that, an exchanger, if you will. And then they take that cash and they reinvest in their next, investment, so to speak.
Yeah, but by doing that, you're getting a bigger investment.
Right.
You're getting more cash flow a month. In long term, it pays you out.
Right. And, there's
not
lot
the
of
short term.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different things. If you read up about tax exchanges and you drill down on it, they can reinvest in an opportunity zone,
right.
And possibly, cancel out some of that tax consequences. Again, we're not accountants, we're not CPAs. We're just saying that this is a vehicle that other people have used and come up with and tried to save some tax money. So, again, it's a great time of the year. And we were talking in the office this week a lot of people, first-time investors, will call us and they'll say, I want to buy with the 1% rule or the 10% rule.
Right.
And we kind of, looked at that and we're like, ooh, they need to be educated a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more involved.
There's a lot more involved than just being, 1% for say of the gross rent.
Right.
So, we talked about it a little bit last time, a 1% rule on a $2,000 gross a month duplex would be $200,000. But a lot of times, when you do cap rate, you do expenses, renovations, your taxes, your insurance. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always equal out to be that. So cap rate, I would say, is a way to really dial in the numbers and, figure out what you're going to be bringing in.
Right. And we've seen a lot of, quick evaluations where people are looking at an investment property and, they'll give us a scenario, and a lot of times we don't have all the missing parts.
Right.
We don't know all the expenses.
You don't know if you're going to put in $10,000 doing renovations to the property as soon as you turn it over.
Yeah. So if somebody was coming to us and they were looking to do evaluations on a building, we did one of our little evaluations on a $70,000 house. So you could find a $70,000 house and it was renting for $1,000 a month. You would start to plug in those numbers. So you would want to have that purchase price.
Right.
You'd want to know what the rents are, or the proposed rents. It might be vacant, right? So, but you would want to find out what all your reoccurring expenses. You would want to take those out. So you might have things like you provide gas or electric meter. Mm-hmm. If there's management fees, one thing I say, if you're going to get into the property management business and you've never been in it, hire somebody. Yeah. At least for the first year. Or
at least know somebody that's well educated on it, because there's a lot to it.
You do need a mentor, because there's laws, there's tax consequences, there's a lot of mistakes you can make along the way. So I'd recommend property management. Funny, we have a property management company at Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty. We've got about 400 units that we manage. I think we had 2 available when I left today. I saw the list to come in. So, right now, just anything will rent, as long as it's ready to go and renovated. But again, so, you're trying to determine, all your expenses, and you want to determine your NOI. You want to take that monthly rent minus your expenses and go ahead and calculate that times 12. That's going to give you that net operating income. And then, there's other things that, we look at, from an analysis standpoint. Again, are you going to finance that property, right? Most people are going to put a mortgage in there. So, the ACE method that we use, or one of the, I guess it's an Excel spreadsheet, right? It's an Excel program, and it looks at 10 different things, so it's going to look at what your gross rents are, and it's going to calculate out a capitalization rate, so that's one of the things that, you'll be able to determine. Also, what's that accumulated return on investment? If you're putting 20% down, what is the actual return on your investment, on those down payment dollars? So it's a little bit more than any 1% rule.
Because there's different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
You got your cap rate, you got cash on cash return.
Yep. So just going back, that mortgage calculator, we're gonna plow all these figures in. We're gonna come back. But the other part of it, there's benefits when you own that property, right?
Right.
You've got that depreciation we talked about. So how are you going to figure that? What kind of depreciation are you going to use? We're going to hope there's going to be appreciation.
Right.
That's subjective. We don't know. But again, most of these analysis forms are going to plug in, maybe conservative 3.5%, appreciation. And maybe in one region, in one area, last year we realized 5.5% or 6%. I think it's really good to use half that, in your calculations.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Yeah, definitely. And, so you can in this same program, it's going to give you the 5-year tax deduction summary. So that's the other thing, is this is an investment property. If you're itemizing on your taxes, again, we're not CPAs, and we're not going to call them, not us. You may realize a benefit, from owning that property. So you put that into it, and then, of course, you're going to calculate, what would the rents increase year over year, right? What would that property, start to increase at year over year? And at the end of that, you're going to look at this investment, the total picture of that investment. You're going to say, yeah, if I put these $20,000 into this investment, this is going to be my return. And is it safe, right?
Yeah.
Is it a safe?
Is it a smart investment?
Yeah, is it a smart investment? So just a quick look at it. But again, Tate, if somebody called you up, they wanted to buy a property, how would they get a hold of you?
423-599-5340 is my cell number. And, you can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, either one. And somebody reaches out to us, we've got programs where we can plug in, all the numbers on a property and, tell you if we think it's a good investment or if it's a bad investment.
Right. So like ours, for anybody that's on Facebook, live looking at it, it's a schematic of 10 different functions that are in that investment. So, we would analyze it for you. It's free, Well, we can't say free, because if we sell you a house, we'll make some money. But there's no charge to have a property plugged in and review. And I don't know of a lot of agents that are doing this. I assume they are. I assume if somebody calls up and wants to buy an investment property, the agent you're working with is qualified to help you, through these trigger points.
If not, call us.
If you don't feel you're getting good advice, definitely call us. But reach out, and talk to your real estate professional. See what their level of confidence is in a program like that. A couple of things that came up this year. What was the 48 units?
47 rental units in Chattanooga.
In one package.
Yep, and those were mostly spread out through Hickson, the Highway 58, 153 area. There was a few in East Ridge, and then a couple in Red Bank.
Right, and that sold for
3.15.
3.15.
Yeah, 3,150,000.
Okay, so let's do some quick math on that one. Just for the audience's sake, I didn't know. How far we'll drill down on this one, but it was a good one. That property, I thought,
and that one's already closed, so we can talk a little bit more into the numbers. It was pulling about $340,000 a year in gross rent,
right?
And that's just what income was coming in, not counting the operating expenses.
Right.
And the operating expenses on that one were about $80,000.
Right. So when you put all those into that program, that NOI on that one would have come out.
Net operating income, it comes out at $261,000.
So $261,000. So just taking the hard numbers, so that sold for $67,000 a unit.
Right.
And again, you take that, just quick math on it. The way that most people would look at it, $67,000 a unit, and then your $260,000 in income divided by those 6 units. It was throwing off about $4,000 a unit in income. So, we could plug that into, our program. And obviously that was a good one because a seasoned investor bought it, and there were backups and multiple people that wanted that package.
And there's multiple ways to make money on that deal. You've got the money that's coming into the property, and you've also got, the value add to the whole package. So if you go in and renovate, a few of those and refinance those units, you can bring up, quite a bit of capital, to reinvest into something else.
I thought it was brilliant the way that investor purchased it, because he had a line of credit, and he was not tied to release clauses on mortgages, so he was able to move those pieces amongst that system. So I think some of those units have already sold, right?
Yep.
So he sold a couple of them. Probably, realized a gain, on those units, but postured himself, to, keep the ones he wanted, sell them.
Go in and refinance with the rate and, terms that you want to do.
Yeah. So that was a really, really good one. I think we had some pictures of those units, that had, transpired. It was all duplexes.
And you don't find, really big packages of multifamily like that, sold at one time.
And the funny thing was, years ago they were harder to sell, and now because there's so much money in the market, people want the larger investments. So up on the screen, we've got some of the duplexes. So a lot of those were 2-bedroom, 1-bath units.
Yeah, just simple layout.
Simple layout. Rents. I'm looking at here. Some of the rents were, $700, $800. Just interesting. Joe Lunchbox stuff. People need a place to live and to rent.
And a lot of those people we had met, they'd been in those units for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Or even longer. I met one of the ladies I remember, she had been there for 50 years, and it looked like she hadn't even been there maybe a year.
50 years.
Yeah.
So how many times do you think she paid for that building with her rent? Like 2.5 times. Like we could calculate it out. So we've discussed it. It's a product. People need to rent. Not everybody wants to buy.
Right.
And that's why I think it's a great investment when you talk about commercial real estate. So like the beginning of this year, I sold a lot of office buildings, and I sold a 3,100 square foot. Skyway Title Services purchased that one. They relocated their business into there, and they were busting at the seams in a rental building, I think it was 2,600 square foot. But that extra 500 square foot and the option to buy it was an opportunity of a lifetime, for Judy up there at Skyway Title. So she was really, really tickled to get that building. So then the company that sold that building, they bought a 9,200 square foot building in Athens, and that Straightway Ministries bought that one. And they're going to house 40 people, in their ministry program in that building. And we rezoned it. We financed it, with the bank, and we closed it. But it was really a great thing for the Athens community to get that, because that was a vacant building that had been vacant for a couple years, and now there's a new tenant in there, so that was pretty excited. I know we sold industrial building over by the airport in Chattanooga, and that one went for I think $315,000 cash. It was just a 2,400 square foot.
Just a simple but good area.
Yeah, great location if you want to be off of 153 and I-75 for commercial businesses. So we've had a little bit of everything that's kind of sold this year.
Storage facilities.
Yeah, we started out the year.
Those were really popular towards the beginning of this year. And then now towards the end of this year, we're working on some commercial complexes.
Right, so like a shopping center?
Right,
yeah. So we've got one available. Well, it's not available, it's under contract.
Yeah,
so and that's kind of a key piece here in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
Starview,
pretty popular place. It's a 65,000 square foot commercial plaza.
Right.
All the tenants there are, it's 9 tenants.
Fully leased. Yeah.
And
pretty good cap rate on that one. You had brought that up earlier.
Right.
that cap rate somewhere around 8%. And it's funny, 7% they talk about as profitable, right? Mm-hmm. Anything 7 or better, is profitable. But when you get higher up, sometimes those are risky.
Yeah.
If you're getting a 10 cap on something.
And in this example, for instance, there's a new parking lot, there's a new roof, so it makes it a little bit, a better cap rate.
Long-term tenants, one of the tenants is in there how long?
Well, there's one that's been there for 40 years, and then there's 4 others that's been there for at least 20 that we know of.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's great.
And so really good, tenant relationships as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of our business, right?
Yeah.
Lloyd Hamilton was the commercial guy in town, and he had a lot of relationships with people that own buildings, were invested, in the community, and we want to do the same thing. We want to come back in and have those relationships with people that have buildings, and then a lot of times people are looking at the same investment schematic and they're saying, is it time to sell? Mm-hmm. Are we at the peak, and should we do a tax exchange, or should we acquire more? So a lot of times when we're talking to folks, not only are they interested in buying, but maybe selling right now. And a lot of times we have somebody, in the Rolodex that's looking for
active. Yeah, that's being a really active investor.
Yeah, and I know this week when we were in our commercial roundtables, we're working on a mobile home park. We've got a whole bunch of, I'm excited. I've never seen this active of a market in over 30 years, and it's both ways. You got people wanting in, and you got people ready to exit out. So it's a great time to be a real estate practitioner doing that. But commercial real estate's a specialty.
It is, and COVID really had a major effect on that too as well.
Right.
We didn't know how commercial was going to be.
Yep.
Like, looking from March 2020,
right.
looking into the rest of the year, we didn't know how places were going to keep open and keep business going. But luckily we're on the downside of that.
Yeah, we are on the downside of it,
and we're seeing commercial really pop up now and really getting active again.
It is, on the topic of a lot of people, we're seeing so many people asking about it. And when you look at the trends, Lawrence Yun, the economist for National Association of Realtors, when he talks about what they're looking at in the commercial side of it, industrial property is taken off like crazy. And that would encompass storage and warehouse facilities. We were just talking this week. We've got a company that does events, and they need a storage facility, and they were thinking just a warehouse building, where they can store their stuff. But we said, hey, what about a smaller facility where you can use the units that you want and rent the ones that you don't? And they're like, brilliant. So we're working to find them a good fit there, but there's never enough, right? So if anybody out there in radio land has a commercial building, that it's time for it to go, or you'd like to see what it's worth,
we would love to take a look at it.
We'd love to take a look at it. We give you a evaluation on it, as deep as you need. We were competing for one the other day, and we had to really drill down on traffic counts and, comparable, and we had to go regionally, to compare out a 65,000 square foot, strip mall. And we have those comparables, we have those tools,
right.
So, let us see what you have, again, give us a call. Tate, you've been in the commercial side of it a couple of years now,
right.
And it's always an education process.
It is.
We're learning every day. And, I just, we try to do it the right way, slow and steady,
right.
and just, see what's out there. But again, one of the calls we had this week, tax exchange, guy looking at $1.5 million, looking to reinvest. They want these triple net buildings, So what's a triple net?
Triple net means that the tenant pays their own expenses and pays the rent. And it's pretty hands-free investing for an owner standpoint.
Right. So they're paying the taxes, the maintenance,
right.
and the rent. And so the owner, when they get that rent check, it's all green. I mean, their side of the balance sheet is the tax consequences,
And if they don't want to be so much involved, and take just a step back approach, that's a really great way to get into commercial real estate.
Right.
Is a triple net lease.
Yeah. So, and we have those. We have buildings that, and typically it's easier on that to determine what their net operating income is, so we can quickly calculate that cap rate. And we can say, look, this is a 6.4 cap, so that's your expected return. And, people love that, they
right.
love to be able to, know exactly, how much they're going to make on it. So, and again, we're going over this a lot. We're glossing over some of it, but, give us a call. We're right at 2650 Peerless Road, in Cleveland, Coldwell Banker, Kinard Realty. We have a pure commercial franchise. I think we're the only ones in Bradley County. There's a couple guys, that's probably all they do, but our franchise, our commercial franchise is specifically for that. I'm the broker over that. This year and next year, that's all we're trying to do is train some more agents to help out, because there is a pretty good workload that we're looking at in the next year. So, if you need an agent, give us a call. We also have property management. So, those same people are asking us, can we manage it? And absolutely we can. So, we can do it 3 different ways. We can do tenant placement, right? Where we just place a tenant for them. We can do the monthly, collections,
right?
Or we can handle, the exit, when they want to sell those properties as well with a tenant in place. So, tenant relations, super important, meeting those people, finding out their side.
We've placed tenants to make a sale happen.
We have. We've had to do it.
We do it all.
Yeah, and that's funny. This has been an interesting year, because we've had some really good challenges, and we've been able to meet the challenge on each one of them. So, just looking at next year, some of the things that we've got pending, we've got THDA, affordable housing complex going up. That was sold, with the THDA credits, with a builder, with a developer. It took 2 years, and that'll close first quarter next year. So that's really interesting. We have a lot of people looking for land, to develop subdivisions.
Yep.
So again, anybody that's got a large tract of land, if you're ready to sell, we probably got 8 or 10 people that are on our hot list that would love to know about it.
Yep.
And again, with commercial, a lot of times these aren't really going on the open market.
Yeah, and a lot of times you see a broker will have, a seller that's looking to sell, and he'll go to a list of buyers that are there.
Right.
Usually they go with the one that is, they know that's going to close.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a buyer out there, being easy to work with,
Yep.
and, letting somebody know that you're going to close on properties whenever you do make offers, that's how you get the good deals.
Right. So perfect example, we had that package of, 7 duplexes?
Yep.
And we had 11 offers on it
Right.
at one time. And one of the buyers wanted a 90-day due diligence period.
Yeah.
And that wasn't realistic.
Because price is not always the one deciding factor.
Absolutely. So we actually made our own spreadsheet, price terms, and tried to put all the trigger points in so we could sit down with the owner to present each one. So presenting multiple offers is an art, going through and, really reading those offers. And those sellers, they're savvy, because they're catching stuff that, I wouldn't think was real important, but it was to them.
Right.
They're like, oh, I like this because of this, and here's a pre-qual letter from this bank.
Right.
They felt they were very solid.
So but circling back, a lot of these deals they never make it on the MLS.
Right.
Not saying that good deals don't end up being listed, because I've seen a few really good multifamily properties go on the MLS this year.
Right.
And they say that's where deals go to die, but I would argue against that.
Yeah.
I think you just have to keep a daily check on what's going up, because it doesn't last long if it is.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the stuff, I put in Catalyst only, so it wouldn't go in our local listing, database. And I'm trying to protect that seller, from, the 600 plus residential agents that might interpret that differently, or maybe not be able to handle it properly. So if a commercial practitioner is looking, they're going to know to look on Catalyst or LoopNet, where we post that stuff. So. So this was the rapid. This was it was a quick look at it. But again, how do they get a hold of you, Tate? If somebody want to call you?
423-599-5340, or Tate Trentham on Facebook or Instagram. How about you, Sean?
Again, Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty. I'm the managing broker. You can reach me at the office, 423-476-5532. Again, I thank Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty for investing in this show. We love talking about real estate. It's what we do. But we want to hear from you. What are your goals for 2022? Give us a call. Sean Matthews, Tate Trentham. Let's help you achieve your goals for 2022.
Right on.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week, God willing. Have a great Saturday.
Have a good one. See ya.
Have you seen the new Coldwell Banker North Star signs? Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty has been serving the East Tennessee and North Georgia area since 1974, with 5 offices in Cleveland, Tennessee, Dalton, Ringgold, Cartersville, and Calhoun, Georgia. With the latest technology, CBKR's 145 licensed agents are ready to serve all your real estate needs. Call today, 423-476-5532. They offer residential, commercial, and land and property management. Call and speak to one of their licensed professionals today.